So video games are generally such huge and expansive works of art that they're rarely boiled down to just a single moment, good or bad. But every so often, a video game will serve up a scene so jaw-droppingly demented, disturbing, or outright offensive that it damn near wipes away all of the fun times that you had playing it. And that's what we're here to talk about today. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 gaming moments everyone wishes they could unsee. Number 10. Sonic getting kissed by a human woman. Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. As long as Sonic the Hedgehog exists and people are playing his video games, fans will never be able to forget the single most infamous and stomach-churning moment in the series' history, and it's that damn kiss. 2006's Sonic the Hedgehog reboot was intended to be a clean slate for the beleaguered franchise, and while the game at large was panned by critics, its grandest crime of all was having Sonic make out with a human woman. Nice, great, no please, I definitely want to see that. After apparently being killed near the end of the game, Sonic is then resurrected with the Chaos Emerald's power courtesy of Princess Elise, but for no apparent reason during that ritual, she plants a full-on kiss on Sonic's lips. Beyond the obvious fact that Sonic is unconscious and can't consent to the kiss, going for the lips adds another layer of romantic weirdness to it. Had Elise simply given Sonic a platonic peck on the forehead or cheek, well, a lot less of us would have been bothered, but going full-on bestiality invited thoughts and questions that nobody ever wanted from a Sonic game of all things. Number 9. Heather vomits a fetus and Claudia eats it. Silent Hill 3. For context, protagonist Heather Mason learns during the game that she's being used as a vessel to give birth to the god worshipped by the cult residing in Silent Hill. Now, given that the god's birth would result in Heather's death, she decides instead to forcefully purge the god fetus by consuming a special herb, which in occult lore wards off demonic entities. And so Heather promptly pukes up the crimson red fetus, a nauseating feat in of itself, before the cult's high priestess Claudia then decides that she will become the god's vessel instead and goes about eating it. This leads to Claudia birthing the god and dying, with the player then battling the newborn creature in the game's final boss fight. Silent Hill has never been afraid to push the envelope with objectionable content, but it's also never been quite as primeval level of gross as one person yucking up a gestating fetus and somebody else devouring it. Number 8. Letitia the Racist Caricature. Deus Ex Human Revolution. Now, Deus Ex Human Revolution is a mostly great game, but what the hell were Eidos Montreal thinking with this blatantly racist caricature of an NPC? You see, during the game, players will come into contact with an informant by the name of Letitia, a black woman who is written and performed as a massively offensive stereotype. Now, obviously, a portrayal of an impoverished black woman with a thick southern accent isn't inherently racist, but it's all about context, tone, and execution. Here she feels less like a full-bodied character and more sort of like a performative cartoon that you'd expect to see in a very racist show 150 years or so ago, not as a black woman existing in 2027. Amid the backlash, Eidos did eventually issue a statement which basically hand-waved the criticism but showed how much criticism they got, yet over a decade later she endures as by far the worst part of an otherwise pretty fantastic title. Number 7. Johnny and Meryl get engaged out of nowhere. Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots. There's perhaps no greater example of Metal Gear Solid 4 being an excessive, if entertaining, exercise in fan service than Hideo Kojima's decision to make Meryl and Johnny a romantic pairing during the game. Now, Johnny was a joke character in previous titles, yet reinvented here as a more fleshed out human being, albeit still one with some major digestive issues. Throughout the game, he's part of Meryl's rap patrol team, and after saving Meryl from drowning in Europe, the two share a kiss. But the most unbearable part of Meryl and Johnny's unexpected forced romance, well, it's the weird proposal scene. Late in the game, the pair are teaming up to fend off against a seemingly unending wave of Haven troopers, when Johnny suddenly reveals that he's always been in love with Meryl and abruptly proposes to her on the spot. In between gunfire, Meryl rejects him, and when Johnny suggests that they move in together instead, Meryl replies that she wants to do things her way, in turn proposing to Johnny. A shocked Johnny agrees as they continue mowing down Haven troopers, all while Meryl tells Johnny that he shouldn't even think about cheating on her and that she wants a real wedding with flowers and a cake before they then share a passionate smooch. Though the scene is clearly meant to be campy and heightened, it's also one of the most embarrassing moments from any Hideo Kojima game. It is right up there with quiet dancing seductively in the rain in Metal Gear Solid 5 and the Mario and Princess Beach thing in Death Stranding. You flew too close to the sun on this one, Hideo. Number 6. The weirdly clothed sex scenes. Ride to Hell Retribution. And then there's the infamous 2013 action-adventure train wreck Ride to Hell Retribution, which was panned by critics in practically every way that a video game could be panned. Reviewers drew particular attention to the game's misogynistic treatment of women and especially its baffling, nausea-inducing sex scenes, in which all participants keep their clothes on throughout. Yep. During the game, you're able to rescue a number of imperiled women who offer up their bodies to protagonist Jake Conway as a, air quotes, reward, resulting in these toe-curlingly awkward sex scenes in which both Jake and the woman in question clumsily gyrate around without removing a single item of clothing. It doesn't help, of course, that you're usually saving these women from brutal abuse, and so to immediately cut to some rutting is tonally jarring to say the least, if not outright problematic. Number 5. The Dinner Dance. Infinite Undiscovery. Square Enix's action RPG Infinite Undiscovery lives on almost 15 years after its release, primarily thanks to one meme-worthy scene that represents some of the most cringe-inducing writing and voice acting the medium has ever seen. During one of the game's cutscenes, a pair of twins inform the player character Capel that it's dinner time and that he should join them. Announcing their hunger, they then dance off into the distance while singing "Dinner, Dinner, Dinner," with Capel eventually joining in on the singing and the dancing. Now, the other party member, Aya, is basically the player at this point, looking on in horrifying disgust at this painfully awkward display before then begrudgingly joining the trio for some grub. I mean, look, it's a JRPG, so some cringe is basically par for the course due to the dialogue being translated from Japanese to English, but even so, this horrendous exchange delivers a thermonuclear level of second-hand embarrassment. Number 4. Ryder tries to flirt with Suvi. Mass Effect Andromeda. Now, unlike most other entries on this list, Mass Effect Andromeda's painful flirtation between protagonist Ryder and science officer Suvi is at least supposed to be cringy as all hell, but that doesn't make it any less difficult to watch though, perhaps in part because of the agonizingly bad flirting, which just feels too damn real and relatable. Despite BioWare promising that Andromeda's romance options would be more extensive, they were met with a fairly divisive response from players, particularly with regard to how the game portrays uneasy courtship through relentlessly awkward flirtation, and this is never worse than when Ryder tries to chat up Suvi, leading to this deeply wonky exchange in which Ryder schizophrenically transforms from a self-assured pathfinder to a jittery neurotic pile of mush. After Ryder tells Suvi that she's glad that she's part of her crew, Suvi says that she's honored to be on board, only for Ryder to snappily retort with, "No, I mean, I think you're cute and I like seeing you up here." As Suvi becomes clearly uncomfortable, Ryder continues to talk about how much she loves Suvi's accent, before then announcing aloud that she's going to go back to being a pilot now. Hilariously, we then cut to the pilot, who says exactly what every player is thinking, which is, "Kill me now." Number 3. The White Phosphorus Attack. Spec Ops: The Line. Oh look, it's WhatCulture's most favourite son, Spec Ops: The Line. I haven't spoken about this in, let me just check my watch here. A week now. Fantastic. Great. Midway through the game, protagonist Walker and his team deploy a white phosphorus attack on an enemy position, with the player even carrying out the battery themselves from a drone. You then head to the site of the assault, where it's revealed that you actually didn't melt a cavalcade of armed enemy soldiers, but also 47 innocent civilians who were simply seeking refuge in the area. To rub salt in the wound, Walker stumbles across the charred remains of the civilians, their flesh having melted to the bone. And worst of all, the game zooms in on the remnants of a mother cradling her child, their bodies both grotesquely disfigured by the white phosphorus. Needless to say, you won't actually want to look into the real-world effects of white phosphorus and what it can do to the human body for the sake of your sanity, but Spec Ops: The Line gave players a pretty damn good idea in supremely feel-bad fashion. Number 2. Cloud's hand massage. Final Fantasy VII Remake. You know what thing the totality of human existence could have gone without ever seeing or even thinking about? Cloud Strife's O-Face. In the genuinely brilliant wall market section of Final Fantasy VII's Remake, players are introduced to the new character Madame M, who operates a massage parlor in the area. Cloud and company end up visiting the parlor for a rub-down, though when Madame M informs them that the parlor specializes in hand massages, she's actually being far more literal than anyone expected. Indeed, Madame M's business consists of rubbing customers' hands and in a sensual and relaxing way. And that's it. Yet it doesn't take much reading between the lines to see what Square Enix is getting at here, and if you select the luxury massage option, you'll be treated to a traumatic cutscene in which Cloud receives quite the hand job. In the scene, Madam M seductively applies hand cream to Cloud's fingers, tells him to relax, and starts kneading away. The shots are frequently framed to imply that Madam M is doing more than rubbing his hand, and the quasi-orgasmic reaction shots from Cloud only further seal that grotty deal. This all reaches a literal climax when Madam M works the fingers more vigorously, and upon asking Cloud if this is how he likes it, he lets out a moan of pleasure before the scene mercifully ends. And number 1, Lymle's nappy time, Star Ocean: The Last Hope. And so this list wraps up with another JRPG gem now, which can be found in Star Ocean: The Last Hope. While being a generally solid game, fans are still trying to forget the infamous nappy time cutscene, in which protagonist Edge has a skin-crawlingly uncomfortable interaction with the young party member Lymle. When Edge approaches a tired Lymle and tells her to go to bed, she touches his arm and retorts with, "Edgy, I want to take a nappy time with you, Kay?" A baffled and visibly unsettled Edge barely has time to process this before she then adds, "Grandpa would always take nappy time with me, Kay," and basically guilt trips Edge into sitting with her while she falls asleep on him. Lymle is then woken up by the other characters moving around the area, and when FaZe tells her to go to bed and stop bothering Edge, she replies with that it's none of his beeswax, before reiterating that she wants to take nappy time with Edgy. Lymle eventually agrees to sleep alone after FaZe continues to call her a baby. Now this scene is an absolute car crash of writing and performance. The dialogue would sound weird and creepy were it being delivered by the best voice actor on the planet, but the narcotized droning from Lymle's voice actress just makes the scene even more unnerving and definitely weird. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 gaming moments everyone wishes they could unsee. I hope that you enjoyed that, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Even though we detailed today about gaming moments that you wished you could unsee, hopefully you do want to hear what I have to say here, and that is that I hope that you're being kind to yourself, my friend, both physically and mentally. You deserve all of the best things in life, and do not let anything or anyone else tell you otherwise, alright? You are a massive ledge, and you deserve the best. As always, I've been Jules, you have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.